Godot.
This is not really a presentation about solutions, but more a presentation about problems. So
be careful, you're going to be on YouTube. My name is Remy Verscheld, and I'm the project manager and maintainer of the Godot engine project.
Juan Linietsky, who's the head of development at Godot. You're actually the creator and the lead developer of the Godot game engine. And welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I see the crystal raindrops fall, and the beauty of it all is when the sun comes shining through to make those rainbows in my mind when I think of you sometime, and I want to spend some time with you. Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us.
Just the two of us.
Just the two of us. Building castles in the sky. Just the two of us. You and I. We look for love, no time for tears. Wasted water's all that is, and it don't make no flowers grow. Good things might come to those who wait, but not for those who wait too late. We gotta go for all we know. Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us.
This actually reminds me of how the Blender Foundation is working.
Blender Foundation is similar to an extent, but because they are doing something which is more 3D modeling based, they don't have so many people contributing code to them. I mean, I understand for them it's more difficult to find people to do something specifically. But in our case, it's kind of the opposite. We have too many people who are doing things really efficiently and really well.
It took Blender many years to do this. Well, for now, it probably is going to be next year. It's not that long of a time. And then we will have like everything, and we can do incremental improvements on every feature.
I made a couple games, small games that never got anywhere in Blender Game Engine, and then when I found Godot, I was like, "Whoa, that's so much better! I'm never touching Blender Game Engine again." Yeah,
following the steps of Blender, hopefully.
Once you start modeling in Blender, you just get fast at it. It's all key. Once your muscle memory happens after a few weeks of struggling with it, you get really fast when modeling with Blender. So, well, it's question time.
So there's a question which is whether we have any plans for blend file format compatibility. So I think this was partially answered yet. I can also say importing blend files as a format is not going to happen.
In game dev, pretty much the only things that are open source are I guess if you use Blender for your modeling? Yeah, like Blender, that's pretty much it.
Introducing Khan, the Godot master. And Blender users, you need to look out for the first reason, because that's pretty impressive. Take it away, Khan.
Thank you, Grant. Let's start with the first reason, Blender Sport. I know that you guys love Blender, and Godot has great support for it. In Godot 4, which is the latest version, you can simply drag blend files into your project and import them. You can then edit your blend files from Blender, and Godot will pick up the changes when you save the project. It just works. For some reason, when you first do this, the textures aren't applied, so we're gonna have to double-click on the blend file here and click on re-import. Once you do that, everything should look fine. It just works.
Should I use the .blend file or should I use the .gldb file? So the solution was to take every scene that had those embedded meshes, export it to Blender, select the corresponding objects, export them to OBJ files, and move those files back to Godot and substitute these embedded meshes with the same meshes that Blender just exported. And then the problem was solved. And I know it sounds like a lot of work.
It just works.
I got it pulled up in Blender and I was playing around with it a little bit. And when I went to export it, something went wrong. When I dragged it over into Godot, it imported with only half the model. So half this model was actually missing from the import.
It just works.
The semi-transparent materials are baked as a solid in Godot. So I used the Blender geometry nodes to just make a cloud of triangles, and this pretty much solved this issue. However, it also had the downside that it increased the primitive count from 1 million to 2 million.
It just works.
We get tons of meshes, and that results in more memory when we run the game, and also a lot more draw calls, because that cannot be patched because the engine thinks they are different things.
It just works.
You can see here it actually did not detect the shoulder correctly. So, that's not the shoulder. Let's try again. It looks like nothing's changed, right? Oh no. It does look like it's frozen. All right. But yeah, basically what you can do with this is... All right.
It just works. Even animations are imported. This makes your Blender and Godot workflow really fast and seamless.
Eventually I had to just copy the animation from Blender to Godot by hand.
Overall, makes the development slower and not so nice.
Come on, Blender guys, we need you to save the open source game development world.
We have some interesting numbers which don't mean a lot in context, but when you look at the amount of community everywhere, it's all right.
Was checking some pull requests and then saying like yes, no, basically.
You start getting the philosophy of the engine, and you will naturally make the right contributions, which will be much faster to merge.
We kind of agree on how the engine is built.
But it can take a while to reach this level of
philosophy of the engine.
I have to say, one of the things that really impressed me when I first started looking at Godot, I heard open source engine, and part of my brain was like, that could go very wrong. That could go very wrong.
We usually try to focus more on what the community are more interested about first.
In Godot, any big feature needs to benefit most of the users first. So
we will also be adding visual scripting support, so we can edit your code visually. I know a lot of people is like, I hate visual scripting, why coding is better, which is of course right. But there are many other uses for it which are very important.
Yeah, visual scripting, I'd say basically the same as was said the previous days, but so it was something very requested by the communities.
Yeah, there is a student working on Visual Script.
I think we merged recently some improvements to Visual Script.
Visual Script is not forgotten, it's still getting some love.
There are some people looking into it, and it's not blocked, so it will evolve.
When we add something, we want to make sure that's the way it's going to be forever.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Mike here at Game From Scratch, and I have some bad news for Godot developers. Godot 4 has been canceled. Oh, wait, no, I'm reading my notes wrong. Oh, wait, visual scripting in Godot 4 has been canceled. And truth of the matter is, I don't think the majority of you are going to care.
Most users don't need it.
It was something very requested by the communities.
Very important.
This creates a problem.
Yes, we do what we want in terms of are we gonna implement it or not?
I am responsible for a lot of big changes. I broke a lot of stuff in GDScript, sorry.
We took the chance to break everything.
GDScript might crash on you for other reasons. We have the culprit here, but he's doing a great job at...
If you find a bug, it's your fault. It should always be your fault. It should not be my fault. I believe that's the future GDScript is really bright. I think there's a lot of things that are going to happen, and there's already a big community, and a lot of things in the future. It's just gonna be a super great thing. It already is, but it's gonna be better.
GDScript holds a special place in my heart.
The future, there's no GDScript anymore. We just remove it from the engine.
We are developers. Well, some of us are developers.
We are waiting for Godot since a long time. Are you here, Godot? He's not here.
I saw that lots of pull requests were just waiting forever.
If there's a bug that you really want to get fixed, you can just contribute to the engine and fix it.
I worked on fixing one of the bugs. It's not merged yet.
You will quickly learn that there is over 1100 pull requests stuck in the limbo at the moment, some since 2017. Because Redus will rewrite this part of the engine very soon.
Quite soon means, maybe 6 months, maybe a year.
Many of them are rejected because we don't see the use case for it.
We decide what we're going to work on next and how we kind of deal with conflicting needs and desires from
Juan Linieski.
The problem here is that those issues are usually closed within 24 hours, and anyone who had the use case for it is prevented from voicing his opinion.
There are currently, in this very moment, 2,039 open pull requests. At Remy, how do you find the time to go through all of these?
I don't. Why is it taking forever for my pull request to be reviewed?
Remy has been doing an incredible job, so please applause for him.
We kind of wait until somebody from the community does it because we want to be able to engage those resources.
Profit from other people putting in the hours.
If we ourselves, the hired team, do everything that's easy, then there's nothing left for the community to do.
We don't really pay anybody to do anything. They can just quit their day job and just contribute to Godot like all day.
Waiting on someone who is not a full-time paid developer, like paid Godot developer, to have time to review it.
Is there an advantage to waiting for another 6 months before migrating, or is the tool as good as it's going to get?
Well, you have to wait 6 months for the next dev cycle. To wait for the next Godot version to get a new version.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of unknowns in terms of when a Godot version was going to release, which was good for the memes, right? Like waiting for Godot, really good.
We've been joking about waiting for Godot. This year will be the year of the Godot. The wait is over. Godot 4 is here.
For those of us that have been waiting for Godot, wait no longer. You're still going to be waiting for Godot. You're going to be waiting for Godot 4.1.
You have to wait a bit more to see it.
We'll always wait for it to be ready.
I'm going to claim, since you can't prove me wrong, that I do have some simple working software. But it's obviously not going to be shown today.
Not today, but surely tomorrow.
Mr. Godot told me to tell you he won't come this evening, but surely tomorrow.
Not today, but tomorrow?
Yeah.
But it's coming.
One goes like, okay, no, we need to modernize everything, we need to rewrite everything, and then we worked on Godot 3 for 2 years.
Yeah, I remember waiting for a feature in 3.5 for a really long time, and that fix is not coming in 2 years.
The core team wants to have a personal input in majority of the aspects of the engine. Basically roadblocking any progress.
Okay, we need this, and we decided, right? Just by brute force, just by sheer amount of contributors.
Because they have a better idea that they will merge soon, with soon being anywhere between 2 to 5 years.
Same after Godot 3.2, we're like, okay, we need to modernize everything. We worked on Godot 4 for 4 years.
So it's a very bureaucratic and tedious process, and maybe getting something into the engine can take months. But it's it works really well. It's very brute force, you could say, in bureaucratic and tedious process, and it's very brute force, you could say.
Everything was remade from scratch.
It was dragging on forever.
An authority deciding how things are going to be done or what the next steps are going to be. But I'm very happy to work this way. It's very, very interesting and very different to anything I've done before.
Just wait until it's done.
Okay. Waiting for things to be stable, waiting for things to be more stable.
Wait until after 4.0 is done.
Okay. We wait for things to stabilize in the 4.0 development branch. We wait for Godot 4.1 and then just wait. Because
We can rely on Juan as the lead developer to say yay or nay on most submissions. Sometimes he will have his own opinion very quickly. Sometimes he's wrong. When he works on something, he just works on what he's doing, and he doesn't really care about what people will tell him.
Hello, everyone. We are here reunited to make engines great again.
And then, ta-da, the engine is better forever.
So we are going to be kind of on the same level of the big engines.
This is something users complain a lot in Godot 3, that maybe your game is low and you have no idea why. It's just low, I don't know why it's low.
The elephant in the room, or like the small elephant?
So let's get to the elephant in the room. Performance.
Will the performance in engine of Godot 4 improve? Currently, I have found it to be too slow. That's true. There are some bugs that we are aware of.
It's going to kind of maybe get you a bit more performance. The real performance increases with occlusion cooling are usually when you have interiors, like levels inside of a building or something like that.
We should make a Godot 4 version only with occlusion cooling. People would still be happy.
The only reason it ran so badly is because it was in a terrible engine.
Godot has the reputation to just have bad render performance.
First impressions matter, and they matter a lot. For example, the third-person demo that Godot has on their website that is dropping frames from time to time.
We did gameplay prototyping. Here you can see the character. This is the new robot. Also, there's some kind of problems with LibreOffice video playback, which seems to be somehow, it seems to have bugs. Well, anyway, what you can see there is the level prototyping. It doesn't look too bad. So control must feel good, interaction must feel good. Wow.
Honestly, life is too short for this shit. I can't debug another race condition. I can't debug another null. No, please, stop. Stop it.
There aren't many 3D games in Godot available, like 3D first-person games. So maybe because the performance is not good enough, maybe that's what keeps people from making first-person games in Godot. So to check it, I downloaded this 3D FPP interaction template. You can just select it when you open the Godot window and then go to template. And I got a wonderful 7 frames per second, which is horrible for a game.
This will drop your performance. You have no idea why. Many users complain about this.
The performance is okay, it's not great.
Since you just implemented Mesh Optimizer, how big are the performance improvements?
It's not working yet.
How many of you are Unity refugees? All right, and I know where you're thinking, we don't have this problem with Godot, and we do.
Which performance-wise kind of sucks.
We write a lot of JavaScript, and in case of performance issue, we start to profile it. And we analyze the slow parts of our code base, and we move inefficient code to the C++ side.
You can write C++ if you want or need to. If you are a real manly man with a beard like I-Man, you want to chop some wood and write some C++. If you are so manly that you even dare recompiling the engine.
Usually it's a problem that people want to add some code in C++ for performance or just for binding to an external library.
I strongly believe that nobody should be writing more C and C++ code. I think it's a crime. It's a crime against humanity. We shouldn't be doing it anymore. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't make me do that. It's much easier this way.
Now, I understand. I'm also a practical man. I'm a practical man. I understand we can't throw away all of the beautiful C++ Godot code.
There are still too many cases where the engine is either too slow or crashes.
We will never probably achieve the performance of the more high-end engines, but
Another thing that we have some issues with is mobile rendering performance.
For mobile devices, the performance is terrible.
It seems that using other engines, it is easier to get something to perform well without a lot of effort from the artist and the programmer's point of view.
The performance of WebXR and Godot right now is the worst it will ever be.
Well, I'm doing this thing that seems so simple. Why is it performing slow? And we go, oh, yeah. That is going to perform slow, but this will be fast. And you say, well, I don't want to do that. I want to do the thing that I'm already doing. No, it's going to be slow. Sorry. Good luck.
There's some weird funkiness, like the important parts of the tile map are missing, which I think is a regression bug, but also it has a stupidly low frame rate, which makes it completely unplayable.
Look at this piece of goddamn trash. I've only got 600 agents running, and I can't even get 60 FPS. You telling me Godot is a performant engine? This engine's a piece of trash. I mean, look at this shit, right? Look at these guys. They're pathfinding real slow, and they're not even complex meshes. If I put it on simple meshes, I get a good FPS. But I want to have complex meshes. What a shitload of fuck.
I want to do the thing that I'm already doing. No, it's going to be slow. Sorry. Good luck.
But the performance is dog shit. I mean, look at this shit. 34 FPS with only 860 agents? What the fuck is this trash?
So in the end, Godot got a reputation of being slow because maybe many users actually just put everything to the highest, and it's not very clear what's slow and what's fast. Performance.
Very interesting performance improvements.
Performance is really fast.
Welcome to my talk.
There's a lot of very interesting things going on in here.
Godot 4 is bringing so many game-changing improvements to the table.
Yeah, I think the version 4 is going to be... I think it shouldn't be too terrible as terrible as Godot 3 was. Super nice. Really powerful. Very significant improvements. Much closer than it was before.
Where will you be when Godot 4 hits the release?
When will Godot 4 be released? So we can say that, like last month, we don't know. What we can say is that it's not going to be released in 2020. That seems fairly obvious by now, even though that was obvious for a long time already. If you want to guesstimate, I would say maybe in the first quarter of 2021, we might have started stabilizing a bit, like have feature freeze, so we no longer include new features and we focus on fixing bugs until it's ready to release.
Juan will help other contributors merge their changes into Godot and help fix remaining issues in efforts to get Godot version 4.0 released this year. Yes, you heard that right, this year, 2022.
The release date for Godot 4, I cannot answer that. Let's first have an alpha and then we will see how it goes from there.
The Godot 4 beta is going strong, with regular updates behind a dedicated team of contributors, and we will see a stable Godot 4 release in 2023.
I'm really excited for where Godot 4 is going to go.
It is impossible to predict what kind of spike Godot 4's release will bring.
I actually have a very reliable prediction right here.
There seemed to be a lot of excitement about it, and the team made a great job pulling everything together.
Is Godot 4 a big deal?
So well, let's enjoy it.
Game developer showed how to handle sound design for a Godot-powered space station survival game on a shoestring budget.
So we are going to be kind of on the same level of the big engines.
By then, I think everything will be pretty much a nice base. So once we release Godot 4, technically we should be at kind of the same level as the big engines.
This is gonna be huge.
But we are going to do something a bit different.
The wait is finally over. Godot 4 is out. Yay! The time map is apparently still missing features that were used in 3.x, which can make it difficult to port from 3.x to 4.0.
People started hating Godot's tile map support
I recently discovered a bug with the color picker eyedropper which makes it unusable. There's no glow in 2D as HDR is being reworked and it's not ready yet. If your game relies on glow, you might have to wait for 4.1 or later. The wait is finally over. You might have to wait for 4.1 or later.
So you said your project is on 3.5 version and you're not yet on 4th. Why?
That's a very good question. So we looked into porting it to 4, but of course games have plannings.
If you make a scene in Godot 3, you can open it in Godot 4 without any kind of problem.
Godot 4 will break pre-existing projects. You will not be able to just open your project and run it. Is there already a transition guide for 3.2 to 4.0? No.
My biggest concern is that this version has been hyped way too much. I'm afraid that some people will be disappointed because not everything is perfect.
Is there a specific thing in Godot 4 where you thought to yourself, this is amazing, it's better than the others?
Just the general look and feel of the whole thing. I know it's not a specific thing, but now every time I open Godot 4, I can see, oh yeah, this is the latest, but this is the better version. But after I imported it into Godot 4, the reflections disappeared. Which made the whole scene very dark, and the shelves didn't look really good. So, and then I opened Godot 3, and I feel like, okay, this is still amazing, but now it feels like a toy compared to a tool. In Godot 3, you will get the reflections, but not the colors. In Godot 4, you will get colors, but not reflections. In the editor, it looked good, but then after starting the program, it didn't. So I'm not saying that Godot 3 is bad, but Godot 4 just feels like more professional and better. Unfortunately, there's also an issue with viewports. So if you have a viewport with a transparent background and you enable reflections, the whole picture goes blank.
At first, it didn't really run. It was just black screen. So
I can v-flip it, which is a lot of fun. So yeah.
So everything works smooth in the Godot 4 with the nodes and with nodes, but it doesn't work with multiplayer on the web.
This is just the beginning, unfortunately.
The engine is super buggy.
My personal plan, at least, is for Godot 4. I will not really do any improvement on anything.
Most of us who contribute to Godot did not start as engine programmers. We just started by working on what we want, and then eventually we garner some knowledge that makes us engine programmers in the end. I actually did a bit of everything. Since when I started, I had no real technical skills.
You can auto, and your IDE tells you this is this, this is this.
This is the Godot game engine. I've never touched Godot, but I wanted to leave it in just in case someone here is new to Godot and wants to see the kind of things I did and the approaches I took, so they know what dumb shit not to do, because I did a lot of dumb shit. But anyway.
Like when I use Godot, I'm like, how do people use that? Like every time I use like the export dialog or something like this, I'm like,
The export dialog is a good one. Yeah.
And then I ran into the whole exporting fiasco. Exporting was a massive failure. Maybe it's Godot 4. Maybe it's me. That's very probable. I was inspired by Cult of the Lamb because it's cute and creepy. I spent like way too much time trying to figure out how to make it look good. Either way, it's just not going to work out.
Every time I hear this, it's just so much information when it comes to how it's done, isn't it? There are so many different aspects and parts. Amazed every time. Now, let's change gears a little bit.
Let's find out together what is Godot's biggest misunderstanding.
And it's Godot.
Hello! We want you to make an informed decision. Let's start with a big one.
That Sega came and they took Godot and they just modified it and they ported like Sonic colors to it and they used to release a new Sonic game on it. And
what could go wrong, right? Sonic Colors Ultimate is objectively the most broken Sonic game ever made. Don't tell me people are actually blaming the Switch for this. So, recently Sonic Colors Ultimate came out. I have some good news and some bad news. The good news is that it's made with Godot. Yay! And the bad news is that it's made with Godot and has bugs.
It's no secret that when Sonic Colors Ultimate first came out, it was an absolute glitchy disaster. If you do a quick search on YouTube, there are plenty of videos highlighting the various bugs that were present in the game upon its release. Some of the graphical bugs were so bad that people actually had to put epilepsy warnings in the titles of their videos where they documented those specific glitches, and that's honestly terrible. Some of the other glitches were admittedly kind of funny, like I don't know what the f is going on in this clip, to be honest with you. Even though we can look back at some of these glitches and laugh at them, they were truly game breaking, and a lot of the time made the section of the game that it was messing with completely unplayable. And that's never how a game should be released.
Is Godot even AAA ready?
John Clay is here, the leader of the rendering team of the Godot engine.
We've been working super hard these last couple years to make Godot 4 everything that we wanted it to be. Certain effects are not up to the quality that we want them to be. Everything that we wanted it to be.
You fucking lied to me.
We need to do a bit more work. If your game doesn't fit into what we have in mind, then all of a sudden you run into barriers and you're like, well, I want to do this. And we smile and say, no, you can't. Sorry. This is actually from a Unity project. It's because we don't support stencils yet, which is why I'm talking about this.
The idea is that you just do everything you want to do in Godot and don't find limitations.
You just have to live with that decision because your code gets inserted into ours.
So we have to fake
a lot of cool techniques that people are familiar with from Unity and Unreal, and they want to implement them in Godot, and we say, sorry, you can't. We get things working so that 90% of the time it looks good, and then if your game falls into that 10%, it looks terrible and doesn't work at all.
Godot 4 was made by more than 1,000 people contributing, donating their free time to the project. Over 1,000 developers working together. There's so many contributors to Godot, like thousands of people.
Lots of cool new rendering features, so there's a lot of wow effect, but that also means there's always someone that relied on the bug as a feature.
We have like 1,000 contributors.
Will the reflection probe get an upgrade in 4.0?
I have no idea. I think it's kind of the same as before. Maybe I forgot some changes.
They come from Unity and they're given Godot for some reason that they might not 100% understand, and now things are different, and that sucks.
Nowadays, I hear that some other engines have like nested prefabs, so this may be an old comparison, but yeah, usually. Okay, so that's an introduction. We're gonna do a workshop.
I was obviously sleeping through most of GodotCon.
So the question is whether physics body detection of the ground would be improved, and can it be made easier to accommodate jumping and slope movement with ground detection? It's quite specific, but...
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure if this is for 2D or 3D.
What you mean for 3D or 2D?
3D.
3D?
That's for 3D, I think.
That's for 3D. I have no idea. Last time I tried that, it worked.
Alrighty, I'm just gonna preface this by saying I don't hate Godot. This isn't actually just like dissing on the engine. I'm just genuinely confused. Like I don't understand what the point of Godot is. Like, and I'm not trying to like diss on the engine right now. I'm just genuinely like confused what the point of using it is.
Godot's physics engine has a couple of issues, in-house physics engine, and Godot.
It contains the whole package. You don't need to go to add any extra libraries or things like that.
But you can't lie, the Unity game engine is actually extremely powerful. Like, it gets the job done pretty dang well. It just confuses me, like, why people would use Godot. Like, Unity just looks like it has more features. Same with Unreal Engine. I don't understand why people, like, willingly want to use less features. Like, someone please explain to me in the comments. Like, I genuinely don't get it.
I haven't really seen many open source projects that are made this way.
If the engine doesn't do what you need right now, you are at liberty to modify it yourself.
Saying it's open source, so you can fix your issues yourself, and you can't never complain about the engine is not helpful.
We are very obsessive with having really clean code so others can understand it.
Well, the editor is kind of a mess. It has so many classes.
When you're like 40, you just want things to work, and with the least effort possible, you know.
I think it's, at this point of my life, I think it's impossible to make clean user interface code.
Pretty experienced C++ developers tend to prefer to just ignore what is already there and rather just make their own thing for the feature that they're trying to look for.
If they have to learn like four new C++ standards in like 1 month, they will be like, fuck it, I won't contribute anymore.
Documentation.
Community often recommends using source code to learn about the engine. The source code is written in C++. As a result of that, Godot suffers from this dual nature of being very easy to pick thanks to type GDScript, and being impossible to pick by the beginners due to the reliance on understanding source code, tens of thousands of lines of code long.
I don't do a lot of documentation in general, and I know that Frank, the other guy I mentioned, he's always like, you have to document your code, and I'm like, no, code should be self-documentable. It's just like you should read the code and then you should know what it does, because comments become lies after you change something.
Not having documentation is not only a crime, but you shouldn't be allowed to write code. And the engine of Godot has very few comments.
I never documented it.
Like when I see how much code you need to put into Unity to make a simple thing, because you have all this C# boilerplate stuff and all those namespaces.
We would very much benefit from namespaces.
You can do anything you want, except some things, but...
There is a strong disconnect between what Godot veterans think is easy to learn and what new people find easy. And there is very little work done to bridge this gap.
It's competitive with other engines like Unreal, like Unity.
You can't compare Godot to Unity. Godot is free and the others are paid. So it's not fair. You can't compare a cheap car to an expensive car.
We start comparing like apples to apples.
We are not really trying to compete or anything like that.
In my opinion, it looks better than proprietary solutions that are using existing proprietary game engines. So I hope people will like this kind of advance in rendering.
The renderer is not flexible enough for us. And we tried to hack something with multiple viewports, but then we had performance issues. So
Anybody can cheat or claim that they have something they don't have.
The distance to something like Unreal or maybe the Unity high-definition render pipeline should be much shorter now.
But for us, it's not really a competition or anything like that.
It's the techniques the guys in the industry don't want you to know.
You could say compete, but they don't really compete, but offer the same.
It looks kind of shitty, so it's all deformed here. It's not nice.
We don't have like super nice looking demos because everything is kind of like with a bit of programmer art.
So the idea is that Godot can spearhead this, but eventually others will come. You will be able to use things like Bevy, All3DE, and other engines.
Of course, we were all a bit troubled to hear about an open 3D engine and no mention whatsoever of Godot.
I always write that we're very innovative because we're using open source engine. Don't ask me if it helps.
We are never probably going to be at the, you could say, forefront of trying things with innovations, like probably like the way Epic does or the way Unity does, because what we do is something more, you could say, somebody needs something, then it gets done with contributors and everything. And we are not really trying new things that may work or not work. So
it's also stable. Godot is also stable when editing, which is something that you should never take for granted in general. And this is something we found out with Godot. When we use it, it doesn't crash on us in general. It's more stable in other software.
It can still crash. It can still make your computer crash. So be warned that it's still experimental software.
It's not going to crash, hopefully.
I'm learning Java because Godot 4.0 is just crashing every time I'm saving a file or something.
It crashed on a null reference.
But if you do something invalid, it's going to crash everything anyway.
Yes, it was my fault, but it crashed, right? The compiler should have taught me, you shouldn't do that, you dumbass, right?
2 of the games, they crash every time on my Windows, on my iPhone 11, so...
We know there are lots of issues.
Your game's probably going to crash or something like that.
Some configurations can crash your system because some drivers just explode when they try to do something that Godot is asking, so... It's not for the faint of heart. Sorry, we had some crash.
This is like 360 on support.
In the beginning, the title was The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Like I can't say like this was the big bad thing or the big ugly thing, because otherwise maybe I would have switched already. I don't like big bad ugly things basically. Yeah.
So you can use it, but it sucks.
We feel that all our effort was not in vain, I guess.
Okay, guys, what have we learned from all of this?
One thing that I learned with open source is that when you work, I never know why it worked. Like, how can something like made by contributors have the same quality or better than something that a company makes?
What's the secret? Are there any books or or tutorial on how to become a generalist programmer?
I want to convince you that this talk is for you. I'm going to give you 3 reasons why you should seriously consider making Godot tutorials.
Nice.
When we first opened Godot, we did not know where to click. And as it seems, we were not the only ones.
When I switched to Godot, where you can only have 1 script per object, I figured they'd pin me for a fool. Godot has a lot going on, and I haven't discovered all of its secrets. Far from it.
And Remy from the Godot community has asked me to explain why we're supporting the Godot engine so heavily. It's fun. It's fun to use. It's simple when you open it. It's powerful if you need it. It unfolds the complexity as and when you need it. And it's kind of inviting and easy to use.
Yeah, but the editor is horrible.
yeah. We were like this. And he was so positive about it. Like, yeah, he really liked it. We were like, how can you work with this?
Yeah, so in general, I feel like game developers have a very high tolerance to jank. And like when I use Godot, I'm like, how do people use that? Like,
We've been working like crazy for the past month to prepare the beginner programming course the community is missing. Godot may be easy for you after years using it, yet overwhelming to a teenager who's never written a line of code. I keep seeing beginners who get stuck on the very first day.
There are too many times Godot has made my life a living hell.
Scenes, test level. I go over, I talk to this. Do you see me pressing the key? Do you see anything happening on?
They keep banging their head at Godot.
Banging my head against stuff until it works.
I think that Godot is very approachable. It's very easy to pick up and start playing around with it. And it also has its own programming language, which it's only used in Godot. It's very similar to Python. And I actually recently noticed that nobody complains about it being hard.
Many people were like, why do you invent a new programming language for this game engine? Why not use something that exists already?
Why does Godot have its own language?
And yeah, it's just very like simple. And really, GDScript is...
He's doing it all in GDScript, so...
Yeah. And if all you want is to make games, you'll turn to another engine that teaches you just that.
We're going to be translating all the projects to C#.
But if you look at the various job boards, you'll quickly find that almost all game studios are looking for devs with Unity, Unreal, or C++ experience, which by my calculations is distinctively not Godot experience.
I'm a Unity dev that spent the past week checking out Godot, and I was really impressed by it, which is why I'm moving back to Unity.
So how do you reconcile people's contradictory desires with balance?
That's why I'm watching your video. Please help me. You need to actually make sure your students will kick in. So we're going to start talking with, well, I say kick in, they're going to invest. That's the term we use in education. The more people we have fluent in this engine, happy about this engine, wanting to make stuff in this engine, the more people donate to the Patreon.
Oh, what is up? This is foreign to me. Like, I think I opened Godot once.
Oh my god.
I couldn't get like a cube into the scene, so I just quit. Whoa. I think I'm gonna do Alt F4. So I have a camera here. If I preview, we have something going here. We have something.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
So how do I add a game like, I don't think it works with objects, does it? How to add a cube to Godot. This is so sad, bro. Godot sucks. Why is it so hard to do this? Maybe Godot is just stupid and we're all smart. I think that's the truth.
One thing that upsets me about Godot is how complicated it is, relatively speaking, to get a cube that just falls and has physics.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Collision.
What? How do you... No. I'm gonna lose my damn mind. Like, there's acceleration on, like, this stupid cube.
I'm just gonna get the movement code in. BAP!
Oh yeah, look, that dude, thanks! Yes! That's my completely finished working Godot game. I am never gonna touch Godot again.
Why would anyone want to use Godot when they could use well-established, feature-packed, battle-tested engines like Unreal or Unity?
Signals. Holy crap, they are so useful. However, I do not have a driver's license, so signaling is very confusing to me.
Is your project a mess? Do you put everything in one scene? Do you put everything in autoloads? Doesn't have to be this way. You're just confusing yourself, man. Come on, I'll show you. I'll show you how to clean things up. Just follow me, buddy. Autoloads can be dangerous.
It's the real reason I'm trying to remaster Discovering Godot. I put some bad habits in there, right? I put everything as a global variable. You're welcome.
But it's fine as long as it stays away from this stuff. Stay out of here. I don't want you in there.
On the other hand, students need to feel challenged. Students need to feel like they're making progress. At the end of every video, they should feel like they know something now they couldn't do before.
What is all this? I have no idea what's going on. I have to redo the whole thing from scratch.
I was completely surprised at the workflow of Godot.
Some workflows in the engine feel a bit cumbersome or unintuitive.
If at the end of it they feel just tired enough, just burned out enough that they've really stretched themselves, they will internalize that.
It's actually pretty simple. I just threw in some code and then nothing's happening.
After I got comfortable using Godot, I never really considered switching to another engine. However, I have had some frustrating experiences with it. The biggest thing being the occasional broken or work-in-progress features because this engine is constantly being developed. I've only come across it a couple of times, but the first time this happened to me, I was absolutely baffled. I wanted to use the carry flag for an animation blend space 2D. I selected the option in the editor and it didn't work.
Today we're going to be generating these random terrains in the Godot game engine.
Oh, I'm going to learn how to do procedurally generated landscapes. It's going to be so cool. Look, Korean! You've seen the movie Up? Squirrel! I've woken up, okay, when I was 23, I woke up and realized I didn't speak Japanese. That's terrible.
You stole all the good ideas that I wanted to mention.
Developing games takes time. It's okay if things aren't going so well. Every time I started a new project, sooner or later, I came to the point that it wasn't worth it. Nobody will buy or play your game.
You know what? I'm never going to make a game engine and a game, so I'm just going to pick a game engine and I'm going to use it to make a game. And I pick Godot.
I write up 3 lines. What I want works straight away.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Because you haven't put a colon in, you muppet.
If you find a bug, it's your fault. It should always be your fault.
Okay, this was fucked up, but I'm continuing anyway.
Mais non, l'électricité ne marche pas. Ça, c'est ma chambre. Non, ça, ce n'est pas ma chambre. Right? This is not me trying to be emotionally manipulative. This is me giving students the tools to help other students. Back to Vygotsky. Your motivation is to keep me quiet. Right?
Nice.
You can also watch my firm figure all over again. When did I look like this? In my head, I still look 25. It's weird.
It sounds like a business talk. It doesn't have anything to do with business. But if you want to ask me about business, that's okay. Run a company for many years, been consultant with business, I can answer. But it's not the idea.
I'd sell your heart to the Jumpman baby for a buck. For a buck. If you're looking for someone to pull you out of that ditch, you're out of luck. You're out of luck. Ship is sinking. The ship is sinking. The ship is sinking. There's a leak in the boiler room. The poor, the lame, the blind. Who were the ones that we kept in charge? Killers, thieves, and warriors. God's away, God's away, God's away on business, business.
I wanted to, given that GDC is a bit more of a business event, talk about Godot as an open ecosystem in the game industry.
Godot for the enterprise and how I'll describe how Red Hat has used Godot
I will talk about some ideas about how any enterprise could use Godot.
So there's a question on Godot's future, which is whether Godot will always remain open source, or if in the future, as it grows, will require developers to pay some royalty as done by other engines.
I am so hopeful and excited for the future Godot.
This is probably what many were waiting for, like what are the plans for the future? I got asked the same question many times over and over again, and which is like, what's your vision for the future of Godot? And to say truth, this is a bit difficult to answer.
So Juan, I'm super impressed with the contributor community that you've built there, and to have that many contributors, I mean, it just speaks to amazing vision.
I mean, we don't have such a long-term vision.
The Godot team has a very specific vision for the engine.
I don't really have like a super clear vision about it.
It's not very clear, and some people need something that's very clear.
You produce a very clear and short mission statement. You know, you want to have a very clear picture of what your mission and your goals are.
I'm more interested in seeing myself what's going to be like in 5 years, rather than trying to reach a point with a vision. So there's no agenda or anything special about this.
This sounds like a business talk. It doesn't have anything to do with business. But if you want to ask me about business, that's okay. Run a company for many years, being consultant with business, I can answer. But it's not the idea.
The idea is that Godot shouldn't just be an open source project.
So maybe Juan, you know, what do you do to sustain your ecosystem? And you know, you need a minimum amount of money, right? Right.
For now, everything is also open source.
Oh, the lights are, I can't see anything, so I will imagine that you're here.
The future is bright.
So it looks very bright at the beginning, but I created a very honest talk at the end, so watch out for that.
Godot might be the engine that will trigger the next gold rush in game development.
I don't know what you've heard about me, but other engines won't get dollars out of me, cause my game's made completely free. It's made of motherfucking GODOT. I don't know what you've heard about me, but other engines won't get dollars out of me, cause my game is made completely free. It's made of motherfucking GODOT. Godot, yes!
Hey, I have money and you have, and you know how to make games, we can make a deal, so...
With more time and more scale, the engine is starting to be more of a side business.
I work for many companies doing consulting and technical consulting, and eventually I was like, okay, I want to have my own company.
The creator of Godot and a friend of him, Remy, are running a second company. It's called W4 Games, and like I just said, this is a company, so it's not an open source thing or a community-driven thing. This is a company which was made to make money.
I'm Remy Verscheld, I'm the project maintainer of Godot, and also in another life I'm the co-founder of the W4 Games.
Every time I hear this, it's just so much information when it comes to how it's done, isn't it? There are so many different aspects and parts. Amazed every time.
Yeah, I'm mainly basically helping Juan lead this project.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mike at the Wall Street Journal. At least it's starting to feel that way. Well, have you ever heard of NFTs or non-fungible tokens?
Some users expressed concern with accepting money from NFT/crypto companies, as they didn't want Godot to head in an undesirable direction.
What they're about is to help Godot find its way into the enterprise, which I know some of you just went, Ugh. W4 kind of has that Web 2.0 NFT-ish vibe to the name. Does W4 involvement mean Godot development will follow their commercial agenda?
My personal agenda.
It is forming in Ireland. Why Ireland? I love how they don't mention that Ireland is like the world's tax haven and probably the most corporate-friendly place in the world. But Waiting for Godot was written there.
You can see there's the beginning of this beginning to happening. Like this, there's W4 Games, the company we created with Remy.
It's happening. It's happening. So. But not officially, we can't make it open source. So you guys will have to arrange something with him to publish your games. We can't, sorry. It's impossible. It's not legally possible for us to distribute or even create PlayStation ports.
W4 consoles. This is going to enable you to port your Godot games over to Nintendo Switch, Xbox Series, and PlayStation 5. So basically, they're providing middleware or a framework that enables you to do this.
Godot cannot export to consoles.
They never heard about Godot?
They had never heard about Godot.
There's a whole ecosystem that is forming around Godot right now, thanks to Ariel's company Lone Wolf.
La motivación no es el negocio, bueno, se hace MIT.
If you're making a game and you want it working on console, you just talk to him and we can negotiate something with him.
I mean, there's not really any entity behind.
There have been videos that claim that Godot is running out of money. How true is that? And if finances are a problem, how will it be handled?
Recently, Juan Liniansky, a co-founder of the Godot engine, made a fundraising call on Twitter, mentioning that money is running out.
It was like an interpretation of what Juan had been saying on Twitter, but we never said that we are running out of money. It was more
money is running out. Some users, particularly the operator of GodotForums.org, took offense, stating that the fundraising call was disingenuous because W4 Games, a company partly founded by Liniansky, received $8.5 million in funding in 2022. AKA, why no money if you have $8.5 million?
We were kind of running out of funds, and it really sucks when you have to start thinking in which ways you can raise funds, and there isn't too many options.
This led to some heated exchanges on Twitter, and the user closed GodotForums.org, labeling the Godot engine as a scam. Is Godot a scam?
Where's the money, Lebowski? You want that money, Lebowski? Bunny says you're good for it. Where's the money, Lebowski? Where's the money, Lebowski? Where's the fucking money, shithead?
You got the wrong guy. I'm the dude, man. The toilet seat's up, man.
Is Godot a scam? No.
This is more of a psychological scam.
The creator of Godot asking for more funding for Godot, a lot of people feel like this $8.5 million might have been mismanaged, or even worse, put into the personal pocket of the creator of Godot.
Imagine being in your car, driving at the cruising speed on a highway. Then, suddenly, the brakes engage and your car comes to a full stop. And why am I telling you all of this? Because this might be a future outcome for Godot.
Let's hope so if we can get the money.
If you run out of funds, then you have to close the project or rely on people that have other jobs that can sustain the project. I think Godot does need a sustainable source of income. And probably that will come from big companies supporting the project with money. But you won't have big companies because of the issues mentioned here.
That's exactly what is scary right now to people. That it feels like the Godot engine is starving for money, while this W4 Games, this personal company running on Godot, is making millions.
Having myself many companies in the past, it's completely different.
It's a very commercial-oriented company. They don't really care about bringing any good to humanity. They only want to make money.
Decided to take away a lot of people's livelihoods.
We need to find the sponsors who want to donate to make this work better, right?
The open source nature of the engine results in disproportionate support from gambling services.
Gamification is a form of extrinsic motivation, right?
Making games in Godot is actually a very addictive game on its own.
A lot of that can be gamified, right?
Many in the community have asked that we make all the funding flow more transparent, which has been a problem right now for us.
In regards to grants, the Godot team themselves reaches out to these companies and asks for support. The Godot team is always in the driver's seat. They only work on features and improvements that they want to work on.
A few moments later.
Godot has silenced critics. Recently, Godot was accused of being a scam, the forums were closed, and the discussion was all over the internet. Well, recently the forums were open again, but they have deleted the discussion about the scam accusation.
Maybe Juan wants to say something about it?
No, nothing much.
At some point in my career, my dreams evolved into creating my own company and getting my own creativity out there.
Mike answers, I agree, it has been removed. Keep the culture and vibes here and optimistic.
I acquired one of the biggest, if not the biggest, community for the Godot game engine. It's the forum named Godot Forums. I took it over because there was an opportunity to take it over. Former owner, I won't get into too much of the details there. You can just Google it and you'll find the details for sure.
Godot has silenced critics.
I went into the acquisition of the forum with a pretty solid plan. I wasn't planning on taking over the forum per se. It was kind of like an opportunity that I saw, like, okay, either this forum is going to go away or someone can pick it up. And I thought about it for a few days and thought, like, okay, that there's a lot of potential here. Like a lot of potential in making this something fantastic. I mean, the forum was already really good. I mean, the people there are really warm and welcoming and really helpful.
Our long-term vision is bidirectionality. So as I mentioned, you can start in the mirror, end in Godot, or perhaps start in Godot and end in the mirror, depending on what workflow you would like.
Who owns this project?
My name is Jared McCluskey. I started the mirror roughly 2 years ago. Also, of course, Ariel Manzur is an advisor to us, HP as well. Been working with a lot of names you probably know.
To be honest, I voted you up because I have lots of questions. Intrigued, strong investors, but I'm not sure we really understand the product.
So you can think of us as a bit of a next generation Roblox. So we allow creators to both come on the platform and create games, and then consumers can come and play those games, of course. We're building this on a totally open source game engine.
We have like a custom soft fork of Godot.
Well, why on earth would I build in the mirror? You can now monetize anything. That could be a Godot scene, that could be a GLB, that could be a GD script, a shader, more. That could be the car you create, as another example. You upload that, and that's a full component that someone could pull down and put into their game, and then everyone makes money when a premium player plays the game from there.
We used to have in the frequently asked questions like FBX support will never happen because that's proprietary and we don't support proprietary stuff. But a company needed it.
This is the platform with the least roadblocks. Sorry, my pronunciation sucks.
Our vision is that anything created in Godot can ultimately be used in the mirror.
I'm the owner, or is it owned by you and we're just using your platform?
If you look at things like Roblox, or if you look at things like online services, like so many things are now becoming like platforms in the games.
You'll see that with Roblox as well. And we also look at it from the perspective of premium subscriptions, or freemium, where we give creators a free amount of space to create and game on.
Pretty solid plan.
Given how early you are and how capital intensive it might be, I'm out.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
You can use Roblox or something. I don't know.
We want to talk about building the open metaverse, and we know how important game engine and graphics engine are to metaverse.
We have the opportunity to turn today's game engines into tomorrow's metaverse browser engines. And if you take a look at Unreal Engine and Unity and Godot, you have some very powerful 3D engines that have an increasingly common set of features. And this gets us to a really key question here, and that is, who is going to build the metaverse in the future? And we believe the answer has to be all of us together.
This is absolutely unreal.
Godot engine has been officially acquired by Epic Games. It'll still be free to use, but past a certain point, you'll have to pay money to Epic Games. Yeah, this is disappointing, to say the least. I guess it just goes to show that some things are just too good to be true.
You don't make money by directly selling the technology, so this limits
who and how you can ask for money.
Being able to do something like a sales board where you see who's in the lead for sales, or even if it's fundraising or something like that.
The lead developer of Godot is actually part of the foundation, but also of W4 Games. And so maybe it's the only problem between those two things, right? That the W4 is a company, and the Godot Foundation is something else.
I was working as a business consultant for the video game industry. I wasn't even actively doing any programming anymore. I was just working on Godot as a hobby.
The Godot Foundation was saying that they were running out of money, even though W4, the company that was created by Juan and others, had received, I don't know how many, I think it was 8 million or something.
It's completely different to companies. I had companies of my own that I created on my own. I created with Ariel. And this is absolutely different to this. So
everything was a scam, that Juan was a fraud, that all of what they were trying to do was to kill the engine and take money with them and stuff like that.
Let's hope so, if we can get the money.
I owned many companies in the past, and this is absolutely different. It took me a few years to understand how this ticks, and it's really, really different to anything else.
The foundation is running out of money when W4 has received 8 million. Frustrating as fuck. It's okay, you can be frustrated.
I was just working on Godot as a hobby. I got a lot of experience doing business.
Initially, it was the in-house engine of an Argentinian game studio that was released open source when the company closed.
And I was just working on the engine that I open sourced with Ariel in 2014 because we didn't plan on selling it.
So why are they receiving so much money?
Why?
Because.
So that's why they're putting 8 million into this company, because they know that they can actually get something out of it. So now, what can you do? What can you think? You can say, okay, but why investors are not putting money into Godot itself? Because if Godot is running out of money, W4 Games is not going to be able to survive because it's relying on Godot. And you're right.
I mean, there's so many working for free right now and doing incredible work that most of them are just donating their free time to the project and doing really good work and with the best intentions. But yeah, we try to use the donations to optimize their work, not really to have employees and tell them what to do, right? It's very, as I tell you, I mean, I'm not sure there's so many open source projects that work the way Godot works.
The engine is predominantly made by volunteers who just work on the engine. We're relying on volunteers, like they come and go.
Are you going to hire more members soon? Not really. We will have to reduce the size of the team so that some of the people who are currently here might not have like a super nice job security, and that kind of sucks. People like Juan and I are not at risk of not being able to afford paying ourselves.
We would like more transparency on that. The only thing is that Juan, for example, is part of both the foundation and the company. So you can say, oh, maybe there's a conflict here. Maybe there's a conflict of interest, right?
You're taking something out of context.
He could be trying to push decisions in one direction because he has a company now. So he has another interest beside the open sourceness of Godot.
A good con man takes a little bit of truth and a lot of lies and pulls the wool over the eyes of the ignorant.
Go to Juan and say, hey, I believe you're corrupted, prove me wrong.
He's not a good guy. The great reason for someone to try and fight authority.
Give me my money, give me my Godots, my Godots, give it all. Their reputation has been damaged forever.
Well, trust is very easy to lose, but it's everything. You have to be able to show that you're working in the project's best interests, and for that, users need to trust your words.
right now is just that this complete lack of trust.
I read the whole fucking thing. It was pretty long, and basically every argument, every points that were brought by this person had no fucking sense. I'm sorry, I'm gonna put it that way, but it had no fucking sense.
The numbers appear small, but the growth is enormous. Like if you compare to Unity or Unreal, they are probably growing at 5% or something like that. So this is quite interesting because if you extrapolate, you will see that around, if we just can keep this amount of growth, like 50% year-over-year growth, and 50% is conservative because we are growing stronger, in 2028, Godot is going to be like at the same numbers as Unity in games published to Steam, which is quite amazing.
It was basically trying to extrapolate things that were absolutely not real.
It's really like, I did not expect, I knew that it would be like that, but I did not expect it.
Relatively stressful conditions for them because like their business was at risk and like there was a lot of frustration.
So someone could decide that they want to take like a proprietary version of the engine in like a whole nother direction if they wanted to then?
Yeah, you can rename it and sell it and say this is like a...
I don't know, Doritos engine and sell it, whatever works.
So it got really crazy.
They founded two different companies, W4 and Ramattack.
We started this year thanks to sponsoring by W4. Like we were able to be at GDC in March and also in Gamescom. And it was
and
really...
Ramattack for Gamescom.
Exactly, yeah.
My name is HP van Braam. I'm Pieter van Braam. I'm a foundation board member of the Godot Foundation, and I started Prehensile Tales, a Godot consulting company that's been around for about 8 years now. And my co-founder is Ariel. You might have heard of him. He co-started the engine and has been working in the games industry for decades now.
Ariel approached me with an investment opportunity for a new Godot company, kind of like modeled after other startups. And I was very excited, so I jumped up on that.
So it's kind of conflicting with our way of working.
We want to make Godot the #1 choice for mobile games.
We're going to have future versions of Godot be developed like as a proprietary thing.
Some people make a proprietary fork, but then it's like them versus the community developing the open source version. So then it's a matter of like who provides the best product and where do users see the value, whether it's in the proprietary changes of that company or the open source. Most of the work being done on Godot is done by either voluntary contributors who would not want to contribute to a proprietary engine.
There are some companies that formed around Godot. For instance, there's one called Ramattack.
We have a product that we call Ramattack Mobile Studio, and we kind of refer to it as a distribution of Godot.
The one working on it will be HP, him Peter. He's like around there. Thank you, him Peter. He's our like guru of operating systems. Like this guy's a genius. Thank you for all your work. Thanks to companies like Ramattack, who's working on better integration of SDKs to Godot.
So what we've done is we've basically taken all of the sort of like choices that users had, and we've basically just taken them away.
I feel like they are complaining to us as if we were a company.
We just fucking make one for you, right?
Taking a bit more of ownership of everything.
The whole embrace, extend, extinguish thing is, we do not want to do that.
Like, we don't really have anything to sell, really, right? Like, I don't have any product that you can give me money for.
If you look nowadays at the enterprise software, like it builds up an open source software everywhere. Like you see, all using the open platforms. Like they make new.
They expect it to be like any other company that is making software like an engine.
We would stop getting paid, basically, because that would be illegal.
So why a company at all then, if it's already all perfect? Well, somebody here earlier today on this stage had a had a brief talk about this.
I hope it's going to pay off in the long term, so we can get more rendering contributors, which is our weakest area for contributors, even if we have a lot of them.
If I sound bitter, that is because I don't like it. But it is also a real big hurdle to find someone that wants to do this for free. Then, right, and we're trying to avoid that response by just making sure that it can't break. Am I saying anything weird so far?
We are not gonna be like trying to replace Unity.
How many of you are Unity refugees?
How do we plan to sell this stuff? Kind of like Unity does it. People are going to be kind of angry.
We paid for the initial work to get C# into Godot because we really liked C# and I really believed in this dream.
We thought Unity was doing well, so it was like, why bothering?
Why does Unity have the competitive advantage? Do you think it's the asset store?
Unity thrives on an asset store that can help you support projects from art to entire game systems. Does Godot have that same support?
So we cannot afford that to create a store. So instead, we created an asset library, which is like a store, but you cannot buy anything. Everything is free. And for now, everything is also open source.
The asset store that we want to make,
we cannot afford that to create a store.
The foundation will take a percentage of the sales. We still haven't defined which is the number, but it's not going to be the same as in the other platform. It's going to be lower probably. That will be a way for us to... Yeah. No, that's probably not. 29.9, right? No, but...
For now, everything is also open source.
We don't have any other kind of like ads business that we need to grow, anything like that. So
you can buy and sell, and maybe some stuff that is not exactly free.
Beautiful t-shirts we have today. Sadly, we only sell them on the event we go. As for now.
Our goal is not to make money.
We've been thinking for a very long time about setting up some kind of online store where you can buy some merchandise. We don't want to do that ourselves because, first of all, we are not a company, so we cannot run a store like that. And second, we spend enough time working on Godot itself. We cannot really afford to spend time on something like that.
Someone is suggesting to have Godot masks.
That's a very good suggestion. Yeah, I would buy one.
At any point in time, the deal can change, and you just basically have to accept it.
W4 Games, Ramatak, The Mirror, Do and I, Bip & Bits, Pineapple Works, and Super Nimbus. Without their help, there wouldn't be a convention like this.
Unfortunately, it will happen again, and we'll see this several times in the future, I believe.
Let's hope so if we can get the money.
10, 11 years ago, I was working corporate finance. I was making good money, helping rich people deliberately crash the economy and living in the Upper East Side. It was fantastic. I had a New York apartment and I didn't care about anyone and I was dying inside. I mean, it was killing me. I went to one of my bosses, this entire credit default swap thing's going to go down. He went, yeah, we'll be fine. Cool. Now, I worry about money every few months. It's just what it is. I'm a freelance, self-employed instructor. Please buy my things. I want a car.
I mean, with how these sort of companies work, it's inevitable at this point that this will happen again.
Even if you have the money, there's not much you can do. I mean,
it's time that we cut out incompetent, greedy middlemen.
At some point, even Godot will be abandoned. The main developers behind it will at some point want to move on or lose interest or life changes or whatever.
They feel like the project becomes part of their identity. So they expect some level of horizontality in the way you make decisions, and they will certainly voice their desires about the project. There are entire systems and literature on building, running, and scaling companies, but there's not so much for open source in comparison.
You might have heard of Godot, a leading contender for the holy grail open source game engine. At a glance,
it's so shiny.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of the main difference. It will look better, it will look faster, it will have more features, it will be shinier. That's how it takes.
Godot 3 is already pretty great. The community just loves this engine.
Yeah, so much so that other communities are a bit annoyed by this.
The average Godot developer is more of a fan of the engine than other engine users are of their respective engines.
We are just two people with a fish microphone.
Most of the people I've talked to seem to share the same idea that Godot is just really lovable. It doesn't feel like you're talking about a massive corporate entity like
W4 Games, Ramatak, The Mirror.
It doesn't feel like you're talking about a massive corporate entity like
With Windows 95, you can pretty much impose your will on your PC and the world. I feel so empowered.
Its icons are perfectly sized, its labels are succinct, and that navy blue not only soothes the eyes, but ensures that its windows never get lost in a busy desktop.
I think one of the coolest parts of developing in Godot is just how close Godot's team of developers are with the actual community.
You can grab HP once we are done and ask the juicy questions in private.
Oh my.
We have not really thought about that, to be honest.
Okay.
With Godot, you can just say stuff like, "This is Juan, the number one developer of Godot."
It's Godot. Downloaded the engine named Godot. I know it sounds weird, but it's right on their website. And I was hooked.
It's really easy to trap you in a tool.
It becomes contagious very quickly.
And I was stuck with Godot. I started promoting it like crazy.
Nodes and scenes are amazingly flexible.
Each family begins to represent an organized team of little node people.
Animation players and tweens integrate perfectly with scripts and every node type and shaders, and they can even call each other.
The anticipated version 4 of Godot is going to be releasing soon, and the team keeps working very hard to make it a reality. So, while my initial goal was to make a small documentary on the story of the engine, I think this project has still a lot ahead.
Godot is an allegory for God.
Hello, welcome to Discovering God. Today we'll Taliban.
Juan is one of the most prominent faces of the Godot engine.
It's kind of the prophet of the engine, so hopefully it should be quite inspirational.
I want to dedicate this book to God, who has always been with me, blessing me with strength, faith, and determination to take faithful steps through this journey. Let this book be a blessing that will allow people to make amazing creative endeavors. You guys will create amazing stuff. I'm actually very glad about how Godot is going, where Godot is going.
Don't you want devoted followers? Consider you God.
Juan cannot just make decisions. He's not God.
Am I in a cult? Is Godot brainwashing me? And you? Watch the rest of the video to hear my thoughts and find out.
The cult will open a portal tonight. Doom awaits.
We must stop them, no matter how high the losses.
I have a bad feeling that there's already a cultist among us.
With Godot 4 on the horizon, I know that the community is super excited. And then I came across what I thought was a bizarre and mean-spirited video, genuinely claiming that Godot is a cult and Juan is its leader. At first I thought it was a joke, but as I watched the video and followed the Reddit post and Twitter threads of the person who's making the claims, I realized that he is in fact very serious. Is it just the case of sour grapes and hurt feelings after contributing to the Godot engine for so long and then being shut out? It sure felt that way to me.
Our leader is flawless. You must be insane. We're doing important work here.
You expect saving the world is easy?
We're all called upon to make some sacrifices for the cause. There must be something wrong with you.
There must be something wrong with you.
Their entire intention in life, their entire goal in life is to just attack Godot at every second of the day.
Tighten your group's bond by establishing scapegoats and enemies. Demonize outsiders as less than human, biased, corrupt, or conspiring against the group. Develop an us versus them mentality.
I've seen some accounts out there that pretty much everything they post about is why the engine is bad, why everything about it is bad.
You're being negative.
Ignorant.
Selfish.
Like I get being like critical of it, of things that are legitimately a problem.
Tell them their critical thoughts are evidence that they have committed crimes against the group.
If there's actually some performance issue here with something that is, you know, a reasonable thing that someone would do, like that's something that would need to be addressed. But when it's just going at it for the sake of attacking it, like...
Any criticism of Godot is met with absolute cult-like hostility. You either love everything about Godot, or you are a Godot hater and need to be attacked.
You know, we were under attacks and a lot of things.
You get attacked by monsters.
They are so detached from the regular gamers and Godot users that it's like two different communities. Those who actually work with the engine and those who make it. After a link above thread about documentation, I had a bunch of people follow me on Reddit, downvoting everything I say, and sending a direct messages to me saying, why are you shitting on Godot, why are you even here? It was rather pathetic. I fully expect this review to be downvoted into oblivion and brigaded in the comments, so prepare yourself for that.
I'm a game developer, been independent game developer since 2004. That's 2 decades of creating games and making a living from it full time. Godot. And there's like a cult around Godot, so if I say bad things, there are gonna people commenting below.
If you mention Godot in relation to any other game engines, the friendly attitude of the community changes quite dramatically.
So just so you know, so you don't walk out of here like, well, I listened this talk from a crank and, you know, completely insane guy. I had to do a little shenanigans, I'll show you. In Mexico, we call it La mona aunque se vista de seda, mona se queda. In English is, you know, it's lipstick on a pig. It's a pig, and you can make it look prettier, but it's still a pig. You can pray to the gods, and you can put a lipstick on the pig, but you're out of luck, really.
It's pretty scary, in fact. It's like you're not allowed to compare, you're not allowed to question.
There was a great post by Iboris the other day where he did something very dangerous. He compared game engines. Dun, dun, dun.
So, am I in a cult?
One day I got contacted by Juan and he said if I wanted to work there, and that's how it started.
It's all the little guys pushing together rather than just one big entity. So it works really well. To me, it's very, very interesting.
Start with a prolonged period of love bombing.
Godot 4 got a lot of love. Godot 4.1 got a lot of love again. And Godot 4.2, even more so.
Surround them with unconditional love and attention. Your cult family should act friendly and interested.
It's really amazing to be able to work, on a project like Godot.
So, Remy, just give us a little bit about your background pre-Godot. So this would be, if BC is before Christ, then it's BG, yeah. So what was Remy's life BG?
So Remy BG, so I studied energy engineering in France and Germany.
Sorry, which type of engineering?
Energy engineering.
Oh, cool.
So I'm not actually a software developer. I actually fell in love with the engine and decided to use it myself. Made a very simple Bomberman clone, which is available online, which is quite bad, but it worked. Let's dive into a few key facts about the Godot community and its growth over the past year.
What is GodotCon? Well, it's a meeting point for all Godot developers or anybody interested in Godot to come together, to chat. There was a bunch of talks that you can attend, really amazing ones, workshops, you could bring your laptop, and in between all of these activities, there was just really cool developers, people who contributed to Godot.
What happens if you ask an engineer to calculate the volume of a cow? It's going to say, well, we can assume that the cow is a sphere. So 4 by 3 pi r cubed, that's it. I lied to all of you. That's not the real title of my talk. Game dev is not my job, it's not my profession. I have a day job, which is unrelated. I love my job, I love my boss, just in case he's watching this later. And game dev for me is just a hobby, just a weekend thing. And we all know what this means, right? I'm never gonna finish this game. What model could I use to work as a jetpack in something as small as a medicine pill? And I didn't find anything reasonable, so I'm asking help from Jonathan.
Joe Johnson gets captured. Sorry, Jonathan. No one is laughing. Now comes the moment she was looking forward to. Bye-bye. Blah, blah, blah.
All right, what to talk about. All right, so...
How do you make friends?
I'm not lonely anymore.
Break your mind and crying and
How's the conference going so far?
Full of people, full of interesting people.
Things to consider when creating an anime game?
It's related to boobies, so you might be interested.
Does someone feel they are proficient in this topic?
And at first, it didn't really run. It was just black screen. So.
Wow. Okay, wow, I didn't know Godot could do that. yeah.
Mainly because I wanted to design a Godot bikini.
Someone doesn't want this talk to happen.
Damn it.
Maybe we're actually trying too hard to hide all of these things, and then maybe we should actually make it easier to find.
All right, backup project. I already have it open. All right. All right.
I mean, if you're young, you just want to experiment with everything in life. When you're middle-aged, you're like...
Okay, I got a little bit late in my demo here.
Just know that there's nodes that just constantly move right and left. I've been doing open source for 20 years, so like I've seen it all.
I'm like almost 40 years old now. I've been doing this for a long time.
Our first little controversy.
It's related to boobies.
A lot of it is kind of informal, like it's something that we all share because we've been doing this together. There's a lot of like knowledge that's just in between us.
Sort of in the middle there, almost maybe?
Getting to know someone on a real, physically, on a real basis.
Godot now uses the S.
You know, internally it's like, oh, this is not good. This is not good.
She can do shenanigans like this.
Oh, my mic wasn't on.
Yeah, at some point there were too many spiders. To all the colleagues who I scared, I'm sorry.
So it's only natural to make it run on from a game engine. I really don't want to overwhelm you.
It'll eventually lose all meaning and start to sound like gibberish.
Just go crazy, so I can have an outside world. And I can have an inside world.
What can you expect from Godot 4? I would say a lot of good stuff. Thank you. I would like to, from the bottom of my heart, thank the entire Godot team. They've done an amazing job. They delivered a fantastic piece of software. It's better. It feels better. It looks better. It has much more features. And we've been all joking about waiting for Godot. This year will be the year of the Godot. The wait is over. Godot 4 is here.
If any of you has a question, feel free to receive the cube of wisdom.
Oh God, please don't eat me alive. The questions.
So as a recovering Godot fanboy for 5 years, so I've been
recovering. Sorry I screwed you. This is the right link. At least I'm going to make it right, and I hope that, you know, if you care, that, you know, you'll spare me the insults. You know, I'm doing it for you because I feel bad.
Lightning talks are done.
Thank you for not killing me, for standing up here. You're so cool for that. Here's your mic back.
I know, it's time to go, so that's it.
More questions? No?
Incredibly impressive. That's amazing. Hats off. Enjoy the evening, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Not gonna lie, before the conference, I thought it was gonna be complete chaos.
If you missed it, you have free pizza and drinks.
There was all the time snacks, buttery pretzels, and free drinks. Just everything was just so comfortable, and by the time lunch came, it was delicious.
Well, we gave you that free dinner. The least you could do is come to our weekend intensive.
And drink beer.
Open source software everywhere. Like you see, open source software everywhere. Like you see. So still too early in the morning.
And they wrapped it up by having a really nice fireside chat with Emilio, Remy, and Krzysztof.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay, so what we have here today is a short fire chat.
I've been making like documentation and video tutorials on YouTube for a while. Then I did a plugin that people like, and then I got more involved with the Godot community. And yeah.
Are there any plans to update the logo?
Oh no.
Okay.
Should you use Godot? Should everyone use Godot? There are arguments to be made against the way Godot presents itself. Ugly or uncool logo can turn people away.
I think it's fun, and it's a game engine to do fun things. So.
You guys are awesome, and I consider marrying all of you. It is not the largest community yet, but there are just so many nice people.
It gives out friendly vibes for sure. But does it seem like something you can develop commercial games with for a living?
It's some kind of toy that you can't seriously use to make games with.
Just click and play.
Basically a one-click.
I think we all like our logo.
The logo seems to be quite polarizing. Some people love it and others find it too childish.
But
Updating maybe the desktop icon, so it's easier to differentiate the versions.
The logo is not up to discussion at all. What's the problem?
I want to start with basic education theory and Vygotsky's zone of proximal development, because it's early, I haven't enough coffee, and I want to say Vygotsky a lot. I'm imposing my structure on you. This is Lev Vygotsky. He was a Soviet educational theorist in the 1910s, 1920s.
I am a Vygotskyan. I believe that children need to be pushed to go beyond themselves, and that's what we establish while we play.
Mostly being us kids a lot of time.
They are acting like little kids.
You put a kid in charge. So this inverts the normal family power structure, right? Instead of the kid having to obey the parents, the kid gets to tell the parents what to do.
I always had a dream of working in the games industry as a young kid.
So based on that, we said, well, let's try a Godot engine. Let's just give it a shot. So we worked all day, and really by 9 o'clock that night is when we finished the game. We produced this game called Joe Johnson Gets Captured. Let's take a look at it right now. So that's Joe Johnson Gets Captured.
So when they start quarreling,
revert them back to childhood dependence and mindless obedience.
Godot is a Godot mascot character. The community then started to produce a number of icon suggestions.
The people who complain, they also offer other alternatives.
But nothing really seemed to come out of it. So what's the problem?
Come live with us.
Wear these clothes.
if you want to make your own version of the Godot logo, anything you want that distorts or modifies the Godot robot or logo or anything for your game, that's amazing. Just like your own personal Godot logo, just amazing.
So let's start. Maybe let's start with Juan, the leader.
My parents were sending me to study computing, which at the time was like logo programming. So I started learning logo when I was like 8. I kind of learned to make games with it and moved to BASIC, and then I got a Commodore 64, and I was using BASIC, but it was very slow. So I asked like an uncle I have, and he gave me an assembler book for the Commodore 64. Started doing like more completed games when I was 16, like 95, just using mostly Pascal and assembly. I finished a game that I put some videos on my YouTube channel called Nuku. It was a squirrel, kind of like Mario, but squirrel. And then when I finished high school, I went to university, started to do this more professionally. So started getting with other people very young, like finishing high school and dreaming of having a game industry in Argentina.
A Juan lo conocí en el 96, por ahí. Antes de internet había unos sistemas que se llamaban BBS, Bulletin Board System, que te conectabas con un modem.
We just have to sort of make a decision where we want the little stream to come from. Maybe back in here. And I know this is going to look like we're destroying everything. Don't worry about it. We don't make mistakes. We have happy accidents.
So I really feel like someone making pencils for painters, and then I see the amazing paintings that they are creating, which are way beyond anything that I could do from a creative perspective.
Godot feels more like a painting software. I don't know how to describe it.
The joy of painting. One of the coolest things you can do with viewports.
Godot engine is like building Lego, and you can kind of just go. There's no barrier. You have no instruction manual. You have a big bucket, and you can kind of just like click, click, put things together. You know what I mean?
We have like complete beginners, right, that never touched game development.
We ended up making the Rocket and UFO game.
It's kind of UFO that landed in Godot, and now it's quite useful.
Let's take a quick look at it, and I want you to pay special attention to the flames on the back of the rocket. Now, that one starts to look a little bit more like a video game, doesn't it?
A games engine might be able to take over the world.
The final verdict is, for me, I like Godot more, and I'm gonna use that.
It's not going to win any awards, but it's clearly recognizable as an endless runner.
I think I'm going to use this for the rest of my next development series at least, because this is just so sick, man.
Let's take a look at the Flying Planes, which is probably my favorite.
Bonk.
A nice classic sort of Flappy Bird style gameplay. Our schedule looks like this.
Prescribe a rigid schedule.
In the morning, I'll make my cup of tea, and we'll appoint the creative director for the day. We gave too much autonomy to the director, but now we talk really specifically about what does any member of the family want to do today. Then we have a morning work session. Somebody makes breakfast, thank goodness. by lunchtime, we're all ready for a little break. And so, being a family all in the same house, it's really easy to sit together and have a nice lunch and then talk about, what did we see? What did we try? What are we frustrated by? Do we think we're going to meet our original goals? Do we need to pivot? All that sort of stuff. And that goes really well because in the afternoon we can work for a bit. And now our goal is always to be done before dinner time. Right? 9 o'clock was way too late because half the kids are in bed. And even the 8 o'clock deadline led to us working too long and kind of wiping ourselves out.
I mean, it's such a fantastic blend of people. It's really humbling. It's really nice to see. And yeah.
The product manager, I think there's a lot of things that can be, like not me, but the tool.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
I'm kind of having some problem like that myself.
There's some things about Godot that just really suck.
The main fear we have is that
they will hate everything because it's not the way.
I spent some time thinking about it, and I think we can boil it down into these main points.
Like it's something we've been kind of fearing for years.
Indoctrinate with fear.
Fear triggering moments.
Like first, like quake. How is it called? Like before an earthquake, like when you get this.
Tremors.
Warnings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Picture the Senate of the ancient Roman Empire. Debates rage over war, circus games, and taxes. But imagine that your patricians can walk in and shout their discontent in the middle of the assembly. Amid that chaos, you still have to make something great that competes with what your wealthier neighbors can achieve. And if you fail, everyone will boo you and move to those neighbors.
It's quite stressful to always be in the rush of development or something so unstable.
This can lead to conflicts and miscommunications at the same time.
Control their emotions. Induce guilt.
You can fork it, modify it. You can hopefully give back to the community. You can see I fixed a trivial bug, so I can guilt you all into also trying to help out and fix things as well.
You want to monitor the stress of your team because when there are conflicts, people can get stressed. As a developer, you can get irritated by someone who's angry at you or things like these.
We've had to do our ethics and compliance training. So that type of, and hopefully you all did it.
And it's really good when you have someone in the team who can take over and answer peacefully when, there's already a lot of anger rising.
You seem to be angry. Do you want to open a bug report?
And then I'm blocked for whatever reason.
Control information. Keep them from knowing all the workings of the cult. Block out any information which is critical of the group.
It's really, really open for discussion and it's really, really productive.
Yeah, if you don't have that positive experience, try again. Don't despair. It's how do people deal with this?
Clicky-clack, follow those rules,
When we don't communicate enough, it often leads to some frustrations, and that's not nice.
They get a very strong sense of the tech, like Godot being part of their lives, part of their identity.
None of us knew each other, and we called ourselves Sternflowers. Anyone who submits a game is considered a winner in our book. They're sharing their progress and nudging each other to get up and get out there and, even go for a walk or something like that. Of course, this doesn't directly relate to the jam, but I think it makes a strong case for how comfortable people feel in the space we provide, as well as the chance to grow in a different way that complements their game development work. And I had thought it would be a good idea to have Carlbot automatically respond to users who broke our guidelines or swore a lot, and the community did not like this. It may take time to implement, but we'll get there. That's really my goal and job with Godot Wild Jam. Again, eventually. I had to learn early on that I wasn't going to make everybody happy, though, and this was really difficult for me. I also had to learn that people will come and go, and that's okay, especially depending on where they are in life. We have regular members that will leave and rejoin after a period of time because they want to unplug or they're not jamming right now. whatever the reason, they know when they come back we'll be here, and I think that's pretty heartwarming. But yeah, I love it. You may have picked up on this already, but this community is my family, and I would not have it any other way.
You are becoming one with the universe, one with our family.
Don't get those things in your mind, those doubts, those troubled things. Don't listen to them.
Surround them with happy, true believers, so when in doubt, they will tend to do what everyone around them is doing and believe that is normal.
Yes, I talk about Godot. And how many developers were disappointed at some points with Godot. So why be grateful even though Godot may not always do everything the way I want it to?
I'm here for the cats, most.
Sorry, I was distracted by Gilles' cats fighting each other. Oh, hi, Gilles' cat. Where's the cat? Come on.
It's a cat and mouse game. It always is.
That's interesting perspective. I think this idea, when the response is commercial or open source and the response is mix and match, it's actually a very interesting prospect. I'll need to think about that as the Unreal Engine guy on the show today. So
People trying it out and they get hooked on making more and more and more stuff.
Control their thoughts.
Our ideology answers all questions to all problems.
Fantastic quality and performance.
Reinforce.
Fantastic. 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 Look fantastic. Fantastic. Looking fantastic.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Fantastic. Fantastic. Fantastic.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Fantastic. Fantastic.
Fantastic.
It's fantastic.
Fantastic.
Fantastic piece of software.
A fantastic third engine for our community to learn.
And I find students start repeating this back to me as sort of a mantra.
Fantastic, 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 fantastic little engine. It's like it's an open source engine. Fantastic.
So that just became a little mantra. What is the best node in Godot? It's control node. Bring it up again and again and again.
Hi, Gilles, number 2.
Yeah,
We have clones here.
Technical difficulties.
I just want to like turn my brain off and kill things. Like I'm playing a lot of Armored Core 6 right now. Like Armored Core 6, I don't need to think. Just dodge the exploding thing. Shoot the big mech. They die. That's all that needs to matter.
But sometimes those games are great. Like just goes like you get into this meditation state while playing that it's just auto playing, and that's great.
What are your top 10 games made with Godot? I know you must love this question.
Okay.
We have been doing a lot of work with Godot, but no games at all.
It's a good question. I don't know if I go up to 10, but I'm one of the guys who buys most Godot games made.
So we can get a feeling what kind of game this is.
Judith, you can run, but you cannot hide. The prophecy will be fulfilled soon.
Listen, these people are powerful.
I will close this case. My case.
The bone has chosen.
They found Nazi artifacts in there, but nobody talks about it.
I've been searching for answers for months, but here I am. I'm back. Open up! This is the police!
Stay away from him, sweetheart. He's just doing the dirty work here.
What is this? A cult?
Now, when have you heard that, Ms. Marvelous?
What ritual?
We will meet, Judith. We will meet.
You look amazing to me. It's just mind-blowing. So that was my favorite talk.
I will sing songs while I'm coding because that's how I interact with my students. But be you.
We love the leader is love. When I'm not with him, I feel like a schlub. We love the leader is love. When I'm not with him, I feel like a schlub.
Is your engine choice causing you remorse? For there's one that's free and open source. And we're totally not a cult, of course. Have you tried Godot? Once I made a game in Game Maker Studio. It seemed quite easy and I thought it would be cool, yo. I was making some good progress, but there's still so much to do. Though I drew some parts, my game still looked like rubbish. Though my code runs, it performs rather sluggish. I hear the voices when I'm dreaming. I can hear them say, is your engine choice causing you remorse? For there's one that's free and open source, and we're certainly not a cult, of course. Have you tried Godot?
There was like a culture shock a little bit sometimes.
Is your engine choice causing you remorse? For there's one that's free and open source, and we have the biggest cult, of course. Have you tried Godot?
I'm really happy to see some people try Godot and give it a chance, because I really think it is the best engine out there. If not for the functionalities, at least for the fact that it's open source and it doesn't try to take any of your money. I'll never forget this day, my friends.
These are the times we will all remember. Were you there? What did you do? So what do you say? We're gonna clean this place up? Huh?
Is Tom Cruise a true believer?
I feel that he is a true believer.
To LRH.
They said, so, like, have you met an SP? And I looked at him, you know, and I thought, oh, what a beautiful thing, because maybe one day it'll be like that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe one day it will be that. Wow, SPs, like, they'll just read about those in the history books, you know?
This is a good moment to be a Godot fan.
It's that simple. Now, don't you want to become a cult leader? Don't you want devoted followers? Give their money to you?
Thanks to the 8 angels that's helped out on every station here, say a final goodbye together.
So,
yeah.
At the end, it was very sad to say goodbye to all the new people I met, the people I've been chatting with online, and it was pretty sad.
Anything else you want to say?
Go Godot!
Woo! So yeah, the conference was unfortunately only 2 days long. I would have been so happy if it was a whole week.
I prefer to be patient and wait and see how it turns out. I think at this point it's probably better to be patient and wait to see what happens.
So they wait around until it's waiting for Godot, until they finally got it right. But the problem is you're too stupid to know when you've got it right. So waiting around isn't going to help.
Exercise in futility.
I say Godot wrong. Here's another newsflash. I say Godot right, and chances are you are in the exact same boat. The reason it is called Godot is because of the play by Samuel Beckett, Waiting for Godot. And you'll notice up here, oh, that's straightforward, Waiting for Godot. You pronounce it God. Oh, so this is actually from an article back before the New York Times went paywalled, so you see I'm using Wayback Machine to get to it, but if you have a subscription to the New York Times, you can get in to see this. But you'll see this whole thing basically is saying, so you got this first guy right here, God-O, with the accent on the first syllable is how it should be pronounced, says the British director of the latest revival of it. It has to be, there's no other way to do it.
I learned that I've been pronouncing Godot wrong for the last 2 years. Well, that's slightly awkward.
And then we've got, the next one comes up, says, no, that's way too obvious. Beckett is more elusive and poetic, and he wouldn't hit it on the head like that. He says it should be God-O.
Whoa. Godot.
So, the long story short, say it however the hell you want, you're still right. Unless you're one of those robot people.
They should really post the name of this game engine up there. One of the first things that you want to do when you first create a game engine is that not name it Godot or Godot. It's Godot.
How do you pronounce Godot? So I gave you one hint. I think everyone can give their own pronunciation, and
I say Godot. And well, I know Juan says Godot, and like even
I'm a Spanish speaker, so to me it's Godot. I think for every one of
So-
us, we are different language speakers, like natives. So I wonder for George what it sounds like.
It's like Godot.
Oh, it's even different. I mean, we're waiting for Godot or Godot, and we're also waiting for the real pronunciation, I guess.
And for Fabio, I guess it's Godot.
Let's see.
Godot. Godot. Kudu engine.
Maybe on the next Q&A, we can have some guitar and some DJing.
It's not a jam session.
We should do a metal band.
We should
Oh,
do our own song,
new
like
guitar.
the free software song, you know, like
Yeah.
the Godot song. We should do something like that.
So
We accept suggestions from the community. Please keep them, acceptable.
When it comes to the pronunciation of this particular word, I've got no clue. I was born in a small Midwestern county. Always tried to make my family proud. But of all the game engines I've learned now, never learned how to say that one out loud. I just want to make a game with an engine without such a crazy name. See, it's all because of this guy, Samuel Beckett. He wrote this play about waiting for this fella with this name.
What do we do now?
Wait?
Yes, but while waiting.
How about hanging ourselves?
It might give us an erection. An erection? With all that follows. Where it falls, mandrakes grow. That's why they shriek when you pull them up. Did you not know that?
Let's hang ourselves immediately.
Tell people about it. That's what I would say.